round two of our observation videos was very interesting. I got to explore the discipline side of being an administrator, many different aspects. I experienced dealing with discipline in multiple methods. I experienced parent contact, collaborating with other administrators, and also handling different type of behaviors or activities. For example, as fights, no contact orders, kids leaving the school, skipping class, classroom disruption, disruption in the hallway, and several other aspects that tends to go along pretty regular throughout the school day. I would most say I've learned handling discipline is a case by case basis. You got to really take in the totality of the background of the situation and the history of the students before you make different type of actions. But as far as what you say to the kid, the message you preach to the kid that has gotten into a situation or has got into a point to where they need to be reprimanded, it is mostly the same. You want to preach to them to make better decisions, be more mature, and how to avoid conflict or avoid the situation that we're in future like situations. Also, it's better as a teacher to establish parent contact as often as possible when a situation arises, even if it's something small, as in a kid walked out of class to go to the bathroom without permission, or a kid was a continuous disruption in class, which may not seem call home worthy, but definitely is when you're building a referral or building some type of case when a student has repetitively acted out in your class. Because at the point to where you're fed up with a student acting a certain way, and you may write a referral or whatever, if you don't have a lot of documentation for the other things that kid has done, this one referral, this one incident will not stand its ground most of the time. Also, at the end of any discipline decision, you have to make it in the best interest of the child's education. Uh, at all possible, you want the kid to remain in a learning environment, to continue to learn and to continue to grow their education in their mind. This is one of the founding principles on discipline at our school, as well as, not letting the kid disrupt other people's education. So there's a balance that you have to also have to use your referrals or your student discipline as data to provide insight on your own classroom management. That's a big one. If you're writing referrals for this type of situation or this type of behavior more often than others, then maybe your classroom management or your teaching style gives way or provides opportunity for that certain type of behavior. So you always want to assess yourself as an educator and administrator, I guess, to know what goes on in your class or how it goes on or why it goes on. You can use these such things as learning tools to know where you can get better as an instructor. Fine, but nonetheless, here goes a series of videos. I will pop in throughout the video to show or to give descriptions about what is about to happen next and further elaborate on the topic that I'm speaking with these students on. Without further ado, here is me handling some discipline. The first series of 4 videos are me dealing with 2 students who are a constant disruption in classrooms throughout the day. They have classes in structured environments, so their classes size are always smaller, and they're in each other classes all day. I think they have 2, maybe 3 period, including the athletic period, away from each other, so they are going back and forth, yelling across classroom, cursing. There's threats or there are allegations of them being physical, and we're just trying to get them to learn to coexist. So eventually we bring them both together to have a peer mediation. I meet with both students individually after meeting with the teacher, and then we bring them together and we let them talk it out. And I facilitate this conversation in an environment where it's just us 3 so they can talk it out and be honest. We hope to get to the root of the problem by letting them hear each other out so they can understand where the other one is coming from and that particular point of view of the situation, as well as voicing frustration. Sometimes it's good to allow students to clear the air, as well as coming with a solution other than the no contact order, because as I mentioned before, they're in the same classrooms throughout the entire day. So for them to completely have no contact is almost impossible. So we really want them to coexist and stop disrupting classrooms. Okay, so you requested to meet with an administrator about some kids acting up in your class. Can you explain to me what's going on?
Yes, sir. So I've got two kids that don't like each other, and they're mouthing at each other across the classroom, and they'll cuss back and forth in class.
Have they got physical art, like got up each other's face? Have they anyone hit the other one? I know it's a boy and a girl, so I mean, I hope.
Yeah,
Hadn't.
I don't think physical, but it could maybe get to that. So want to try to stop it now. You know.
I know the young lady said he has got up in her face and pushed her once or twice, but she said she didn't do anything else. Have you seen that, or is she just putting kind of?
No, I haven't seen it in my class, but it could be when I'm not watching her outside.
Oh, outside the class. Okay. Well, right now, I'm gonna have individual meetings with them, and we'll probably go and do something about their no contact order. We'll try to get something, try to keep them from talking to each other, and because they keep getting negative. From my understanding at this point, because I've had this or another conversation with different teachers, more so. I don't know. They start off joking maybe, and then they kind of escalate or something like that.
Yeah.
As far as your class, what have you done to try to tone it down? Have you moved the seats or any type?
Yeah, so the first time they did it, I moved seats and made them further apart, and then the second time, as I noticed it kept going, I've talked to them individually and told them, look, it's a disruption of the learning environment, but I don't know if they care about that, so
Right.
probably have to go a little further than that.
It don't seem
That's
like
why
they
I called
do.
you in.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they do. In a different class, same issue. So I hear where you're coming from. Have we had any parent contact just yet? I can do that today.
I
if it
haven't contacted parents because it just got more serious. So
Just
yeah.
then. Okay. So I'll call the parents and I'm gonna bring them in and we're gonna have a discussion and I'll try to peer mediate it. But if they do anything in your class, let me know. I'll come get them out right then because they don't need to be disrupting these other kids from learning.
Okay, I appreciate it.
But outside of that, I'll handle the rest of it.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
You said that you and this other student got into it in class. Can you tell me what happened without using his name?
Oh, well, he was like, I guess he doesn't like me, but he just, whenever we in class, he would stare at me and I asked him what he was looking at, only because, just to like, kind of be mean too, but like, not really start nothing. And then like, he would just keep going for like the whole class period and then carry on to the next class period and stuff. And then, it's like he doesn't know how to like not talk about me, so we never get along.
So what do you mean by when you say he keeps it going the whole classroom?
Like
what exactly?
he won't stop even when we like get asked to stop. Like we'll be like disturbing the class and he'll be like, he just keep going.
So y'all disrupt the okay, well, that's something they can't necessarily have. What type of things are being said?
Like, I don't like you, you're ugly, fat, stupid, like I guess like really mean stuff.
And do you say anything to him?
Yeah. It's an argument, I guess.
You gotta tell him yourself too.
It's an argument. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I wasn't talking about him, but sometimes I do stop and he just keep going, so I'm like, there's need to stop this, so I just keep going with him.
Okay, so to this point, what has the teacher done? Like, do y'all sit on the outside room? Like,
She tries to like move us around, but like we never sit next to each other anyway. It's always across the room arguments. It's never like next to each other.
So you're loud, is what you're saying.
I mean, I'm just getting my point across the room.
Okay. So before I say something, you obviously can't get called down to the office for nothing petty. So I want to hear from you. So what's gonna happen now? What's the deal? Because if it keeps happening at the rate it's happening now, we end up in trouble. So between them then and you coming down here, what you got to say that's gonna prevent this from keep going on?
I'm just gonna have to like ignore it and stuff, and like try my best to just keep my comments to myself.
We need to try.
I mean, it's like hard. Like if somebody for to irritate you, I'm gonna let them know they irritated me.
People gonna irritate you your whole life.
You gotta let them know then, not always in a bad way. Just be like, can you like chill out a little bit or something?
All right.
Something could work to make him stop.
You're right about that. So to avoid you from getting in trouble, first of all, you need to apologize to the teacher. And you need to have a conversation with the teacher about what's exactly going on. And she's probably going to tell you what I'm about to tell you. I don't care what anyone says about you unless they threaten you or try to hurt you or something like
He
that.
do that too.
He threatens you that he's going to
Yeah,
hit
he
you
be
or
saying he
something
gonna
like
beat me
that.
up.
We
He
be
be doing
playing.
saying no. I don't know if you playing, but still, like, if we're arguing, you say that, I'm still gonna think that you're serious. Even afterwards, you be like, I'm just kidding, no. Like, if I'm mad at that time, at that time, you say something like that, you get more.
Okay, so has he ever touched you?
I guess it's not hurt, but like, still, you did touch me,
Like, what you mean?
like, try to push me.
Did you push him
Push him.
first?
No. Like, I'll just be like next to him when we be arguing and he push me, then I push him back, or I'll be like, hit me or something.
But it's never made it that far?
Like a real fight?
Yeah, and it's not going to, correct? Okay, so back to what I was saying. I don't care what someone has to say about you. You gotta be unbothered. They got to roll off of you. People gonna have something to say your whole life. And if you got to snap back at everybody that got something negative to say, you're not gonna make it very far. You're gonna have a job. You might have kids one day, and you can't pop off at the boss or your coworker because they said something about you. 9 times out of 10, people don't know enough about you to know the truth anyway. So you gotta let that slide. Now, as far as y'all getting physical and disrupting the class, that can't happen.
Okay.
I don't care who started the yelling. I don't care who was talking about who first. You cannot stop learning in the classroom. That's why you down here. That's one of the things that cannot happen. Whatever beef y'all got to deal with, it cannot happen in the middle of learning. It don't need to happen at all, but it sure can't happen in the middle of the classroom because that's just not gonna fly. Now you saying he touched you or he pushed you when y'all arguing, that's gonna stop. And I will have a conversation with him. No one should be touching anybody because that's how I can escalate. Playing or joking around, play fighting, whatever it is, that gotta stop. So, from me to you, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't believe anyone that I speak to is 100% innocent. Just throw that out there.
But I am.
You won't believe it. So, if you play any role in it,
Yeah,
need to
the
know-
one that's the victim
you
one.
need to know, you need to stop doing what you're doing too, just like I'm gonna have a conversation with the young man about what he doing. Cause I think most of it is, from what it sounds like, is cracking jokes and pettiness and, you know, that type of deal.
I mean, it's like we roasting each other, but somebody getting like serious and sad.
Yeah.
Which is not me because.
Can I finish my sentence?
Okay.
Is that how you, is
I'm
that why
just
y'all
saying.
be briefing you or let her finish your sentence? Cause I sure would like to talk.
Okay.
All right. So as far as, you know, getting through this, because I know y'all in a lot of the same classes, we're gonna have to all have a conversation together eventually, so we can hash this out, so there can be no problems. Because the teacher is bothered. She's came down several times about you too, and that has to stop. So do you agree to us all getting together and having a conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the teacher said you and another student have been arguing back and forth, disrupting class. I know there's 2 sides of the story, so before we begin, I'm gonna let me know what's going on in class.
Okay, I'll be in class and then like I'll just be like usually doing what I'm supposed to do or like on my phone or something, and then she'll randomly say like something like behind under her breath like I didn't hear, but I did, so I'll turn around and I'll obviously react and say something back. And like not 100% of the time those things are nice what I say back, but I just say it just on the fact that she started it first. And like sometimes it might not be nice or sometimes it might be disruptive. I'm not gonna sit there and let a person talk about me and I'm hearing it on a constant day basis to a point where it's not normal. So yeah, that's about it.
So how does it get to a point to where, you know, y'all back and forth in class and you end up in the principal's office? Like, so what happened in class for your teacher to call down there and be like, I can't control
Because
them?
like she usually gets like I usually say one thing and then like she usually takes like what I say to like a whole nother level and gets loud for no reason at all. So then I usually get loud back because like you're not gonna talk to me like we're not in the same age limit.
So y'all shout back and forth in the middle of class.
Yes sir.
So is disrupting class the right way to go?
No sir.
Any beef, I don't, you know,
No
I don't
sir.
care if y'all was mad because rock paper scissors. We're not disrupting class. That is not okay. And as far as you saying something about you under your breath, I'm gonna tell you just like I told the other student, people gonna have something to say about you your whole life. You gonna have to let that go. Probably every day of your life, whether you can hear it or not hear it, somebody probably has something to say. So how you react to it and how you respond to it, that's on you, right? Event plus the response equals the outcome. Have you ever heard that? So something happens, whatever it is, because right now she mumbles under her breath. How you respond to it equals what you're about and who you are, which is the outcome. So you can let it go, keep doing what you're supposed to do, make your grades, and we wouldn't be in here right now,
Yes, sir.
right? Y'all wouldn't be getting threatened with going to ISS or suspension for, that wouldn't be happening. So you have to, first of all, fix your role in it. Now, I mean, as you said, I don't think anyone should be talking about anyone. I don't think anyone should be disrespecting anyone, but I do know that it happens. I'm a grown man in here. There's some people got some negative stuff to say about me. Sometimes I hear it, sometimes I don't. But how you respond to it is determines the outcome, makes what type of situation that you want to be in. But her story, your story, they the complete opposite. Both of y'all, I ain't really done much wrong. I just said something because that's called petty. Right? It's called petty. It's way too old. You a young man, she's a young lady. First of all, you have no business disrespecting a young woman at all. Just throw that out there. You got a mother?
Yes, sir.
Would you want somebody talking to your mama like that?
No.
Okay then. I know that's right. So you both got to be more mature. You don't have to like each other. You don't have to be best friends. But you're gonna have to coexist. And if she's in her world or she's doing what she's doing, and you're doing what you're doing, that's completely fine. But you cannot keep disrupting classes in this school building. You stopping other people from learning. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we're gonna do now is she has agreed to have a meeting with all three of us so I can let y'all talk it out and kind of guide the discussion. So y'all have a lot of classes together, so we need to figure out how y'all can coexist throughout these classes. Is that okay with you to have this meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so brought you together today so y'all can have this conversation amongst each other. Okay, I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna kind of referee it, but in this conference we're gonna start with you, you're gonna discuss what you think the problems are, then we can go to you, and then y'all gonna try to work out some solutions, and then I will add my suggestions to it. You are not to talk while she is talking, and she is not to talk while you're talking. Is that understood? We wanna start with just hearing each other out and understanding where they're coming from about what the problems in the classroom, because we cannot let you two continue to disrupt the class that y'all in together. So we'll start with you.
The problem is we can never get along because we both have negative comments to say about each other, and sometimes he'll say something that makes me just go extra and overboard with it, and I end up yelling and stuff and cussing, and he just says stuff that makes me go there.
Because usually what she said, we can't really get along with each other, and everything that I usually say is usually not nice towards her, or what she says to me is not nice towards me. So it's just we shouldn't just be around each other.
Okay. So we have to be able to coexist in the classroom. Right? I told y'all both that individually. So we'll go back to you, and let's, what are some things you think y'all can do to be able to make up a classroom without yelling, cussing, screaming across the class? What are some things y'all think y'all can do?
Ignore each other, or say nicer stuff there, or don't stare at each other.
Just don't sit next to each other and stay out of each other's way and eyesight and talking.
Okay. So what happens when y'all are forced to be next to each other, or forced to move up and in? Staying away from each other is good and all that, but when there may be some times where you might have to be in the same group, or you might have to be next to each other because of activity. How that's gonna play out? true.
Like, even if I look at you wrong or like you look at me wrong, just like let it go. 'Cause you gotta do each other the way it goes. So might as well get used to it.
Yeah.
Just worried about doing the work and not just worried about talking and doing
How about yours?
Yep, pretty much.
What I'm gonna throw out there is you don't necessarily have to be best friends and nothing. You know, I understand that some people have different cliques. You hang with this type of person, or they're not gonna get along. But you have to respect one another to a degree, to where a situation doesn't escalate. So if you do something that bothers her, but you don't think it was all that bad, apologize to her. Right? And if she wants to blow up after you said, "My bad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that," then who's in trouble? Just her, right? But when you get the egging it back on, it's not the same, and vice versa. Also, if somebody really has wronged you, talk to the teacher. Or, I mean, you know, I'm gonna talk to you to your discipline, so you can come to me. And it should be easy for you, because we deal almost every day, whether it's the morning or the afternoon. But, like I said, we need to apologize to the teacher. I think it'll be stronger if y'all do it together, so that she'll know that y'all trying to work together and work it out.
Elementary was having their fundraiser last night.
And we're on a no contact order, so you know we can't violate that. So no talking to each other, no talking about each other on social media, into the classroom, or any of your friends, or any of that type of thing. The last thing I want y'all to say to each other is when, or with each other, is when you go to the teacher and apologize
Did
for
that a
it.
few weeks ago.
Okay, so is there any more questions?
Down there.
Oh, really?
You know?
Yeah.
We're gonna coexist.
So we got
Yeah.
it.
We're gonna behave in
And
the
I saw it on
classroom.
the school
Yeah.
sign yesterday as I drove
Thank you.
by.
Next video, there was actually a student written up. I received a referral for threatening another student to fight him or to beat him up because of several reasons. Once it came down to it and we got the full story, him and another student had a no contact order. The other student is violating that no contact order by talking about him out loud to other students, attempting to provoke him, saying some things about him, accusing him of some things that may or may not be true. They're pretty egregious. I can't say them on this video, and really trying to humiliate the kid in class and provoke him. So the kid eventually got up, told the teacher, "We have a no contact order, but what he's saying to me, I'm going to break it just like he is." And he went up to the kid and told him to shut up, stop saying those things about me. And he used a few curse words, and they end up both getting sent to the office where I had to deal with them. I do not have the other student on video. Okay, so your first period social studies teacher really in the referral says you said some pretty negative things. It wasn't necessarily your fault in the situation, but the way you interrupted class was a problem, which is the reason why you have a referral. So I'm gonna let you tell your side of the story, then we're gonna get into the narrative that I have here. So go ahead.
In class, we were watching a video and like taking notes, and then I didn't pay no attention to him, even though we had further conflicts before. I was just
like what?
like him just making accusations about me. I can't say whatever. And they just rumors or telling other people that I did things to him that I didn't do.
Like what type of things?
Like I touch him or I pick on him, or I tell other people that I want to beat him up.
Okay, so go ahead.
And then, so I wasn't paying no attention to him. I was watching the video. I did fall asleep for like 10 minutes, and I woke up, did my assignment, and turned it in. And then 5 minutes before the bell rang, he went to the front of the classroom. He started talking to everyone, and then he didn't realize that they all knew me, so he said, "Oh, I'm gonna throw his bag of sugar at his face," because he always be the P word me off. And then he said he also be sexually harassing me. And then everyone yelled out, "Preston, he said that you the P word him off, and that he wants to throw his bag of sugar at in your face, and that I sexually harassed him." They were all laughing, and I went up to them. I was like, "You know what? I said, we signed a contract." I told the teacher that. I said, "You know what? If this contract ain't working, I'm gonna solve it my way." So I said, "Screw the contract." And then I walked up to the kid and I told him, "Hey, bro, you need to shut up." And I mindset because I'm not playing no more. Because if this contract or whatever this thing, the teachers can't work this thing out, I'm gonna fix it myself. And then the bell rang and I walked out to my second period.
So what does fixing myself mean?
Fixing myself as in like furthermore consequences letting me go to ABC.
Like fighting? Like getting kicked out of school?
Yes.
Okay, so he was talking to some other people about you, which does violate the contract. So before you said anything to him, the no contact order was already violated. But before we even get into this, was you right or wrong?
I was in the wrong. No matter.
For what exactly was everything you were in the wrong for? Let's throw that out there.
Me breaking the contract, first of all, I should have just been quiet and let him break it himself and not me look like a fool because him breaking the contract, he was up here, and then me just saying screw the contract, and then me yelling, and then me disturbing the class. I was at the same level as him. I'm the same type of wrong as him. So just me in general, how I just messed up the contract and interrupted class, and I went to his face and like told him basically, I threatened him basically saying if you don't shut up, I'm gonna solve this.
Which is against the law.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there.
Yeah.
One, you're not putting your hands on anyone in this school. Two, you are not to disturb learning. So even if y'all got some beef and you want to talk to somebody about the contract because he's so-and-so, the classroom and stopping everybody from doing whatever they was doing, it don't sound like it was much learning going on, but that can't happen. You get to interrupt in the classroom, you get removed from the classroom, which is how you end up in ISS or alternative school.
Yes, sir.
So, in here, most of it is in defense of you, right? You have a referral right now. As I'm looking at it, it probably won't stand. It seems like you got fed up. Still no place in the classroom to be yelling and cussing or none of that, you know. So you're not gonna get away scot-free, but you gotta learn how to solve your situation better than that. So I got some listed here, but I need you to tell me some of the things you could have done for the conversation not to go that way, even though he had broken the contract and was being disrespectful.
I should have. Yeah, I think of it as in like I should have not said anything, or I should have just told him to just be quiet and that was it. Yeah, but either way, I would. If I told him to be quiet, I would get in trouble. But the best scenario, the best situation I should have done for myself, which I knew I should have done, but I didn't react on it, was for me not to say anything and just letting him get in trouble.
Yeah.
But I wanted to act out on my actions, and that's what caused me to get in trouble.
Yeah, because if you go to the teacher and say, hey, we have a non-contact order, and he's talking about me to other people, he violated the contract, right? So he's in here, you're not in here. So if you just stick to the agreement that we had, or that you had with him, really, then there's no situation.
Yes, sir.
I see we out of time, you gotta go to class, but most importantly, don't say anything to the kid. Because if y'all violate the contract twice, it's guaranteed ISS or suspension. No matter what the situation is, even if he was antagonizing you, which it sounded like he was doing. Now the teacher does defend you, so we're not gonna give you a referral, but you will have 2-3 days of lunch detention for 35 minutes.
All right.
Now don't raise your eyebrows. You're gonna do the lunch detention. And you're gonna come in here and check in first, then you're gonna go over there and sit at that table, then you're gonna come back.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that understood?
Yes, sir.
Is there any other questions that you have about the situation? Because I know you had some concerns about the things he accused you of.
Not necessarily, not anymore.
Okay, well, outside of that, cool. You can grab your stuff. You should be able to make it to the class on time.
All right. Appreciate it.
No problem. This next video is with a student who is frequently involved in altercations, but never fights back. He comes to us saying that it's always bullying, but has also admitted, and through investigation we have found out he's always involved in escalating the situations, whether it's yelling back and forth in the classroom or calling someone out or saying what he would do to someone. But when the fight actually happens, he doesn't ever fight back. So we're trying to get him to understand to not be a part of the escalations because people are willing to go further than you are. So if you're a part of building the situation up, at times you will have to deal with the consequences of that. Not excusing that it's okay for other students to want to fight or make it to that point, but our message to him is to do your best to stay out of and avoid these situations. Okay, I'm looking here and I see that I read through the referral that your science teacher gave you, and I'm really just trying to get your perspective on it. So if you can tell me how the entire situation happened, not just what happened in class, and then go on to how you ended up in a fight.
So I was in class and me and her were arguing, and she called me
What was you arguing about?
a dance that we were doing because she wanted to be the center of attention, and she called me a name and I called her a name, and she went and told her brother, and that ended up in a situation.
So were y'all like arguing in dance class, or was y'all disrupting class, or did y'all just have some stuff to say to each other and that was it?
It was just we had something to say to each other, and that was it.
Okay, so do y'all normally get along in there?
Yeah, most of the time.
What about now, since it's been a couple days? Do y'all have any issues with each other now?
No, sir, we cool.
Okay, so when you was so we makes it to science class, so when you're in science class, what happens?
We just do our work and chill.
No, I mean, what happened
Oh.
till it ended up being a fight?
We were working on the assignment and she got mad at me, and
For
so
what?
for I guess I don't really know why she was mad. She was just doing the most, and she got upset and she got in my face, and she went off on me, and I just responded the way I usually do for any
Responded
situation.
how?
I came back at her with anything that I could. So
Okay. So how did it make it to a fight?
she went and told her brother on me, and her
In the
brother
middle of
got
class?
upset.
Or,
No, after class.
So she left class and went and told her brother, and then her brother did what?
Came into my next period class, and
Oh, so it was the period after, not the. Oh, okay. And okay, go on.
and he came into my class. I walked out of the class and I went to try to tell the teacher what was going on, and he came out there and was grabbing me from behind the teacher, and we ended up fighting.
Okay. So did you throw any punches back?
No.
Did you try to avoid the situation?
Yes.
Okay, so we got cameras, and I will look at that and check that out. And in the referral, it does say that you was trying to avoid the situation and that you really didn't do anything. But it also says that you get an attitude with some kids sometimes, and you can argue and you can disrupt class sometimes. So that probably has something to do with it, and it sounds like it does. So. But over the last few days, you said you and this girl has been fine, and okay, and we have removed the guy, correct? And I'm sure you know more about that. So avoiding conflict or avoiding these arguments, because not saying that it's your fault that it ended up in a fight, but you and this little girl getting into it for that to happen is a problem.
Yes, sir.
Straight up, is a problem. No matter what class they're in, it's in the hallways, in the cafeteria, that's a problem. So you said y'all haven't had any issues since then. So tell me some of the things you've done to prevent from having those back and forths and those negative conversations.
I just ignored her unless we were talking about something or we were just having a friendly conversation.
Okay. Did she say anything to you?
Not really.
Not really. So y'all just kind of keep which is good because you're not gonna get along with everybody. Everybody ain't gonna be your friend. Knowing how to de-escalate situations is always the key, and you did try to go to the teacher and tell the teacher, which is fine. But if she's being rude the very first time she was rude in dance class and you go tell the dance teacher, does any of this happen? No, probably not. Doesn't happen. So when it's time to fight, going to tell the teacher versus when this argument's happen and getting away from her end and telling the teacher is the difference from you being in trouble and you not being in trouble. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So we need to understand how to do that. I will be your point man from discipline from now on, which you know already. So if anything happened, even if it's a little small argument, if it takes place on this campus, I need to know.
Yes, sir.
Because this is not your first fight, and I'm tired of talking to you in this office. So is there anything else you got to say about the situation?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's move to this conversation you said you was having with this young lady in the hallway the other day,
Yes,
where Principal Barrett, you had to take you into his office. What was the issue?
She was confronting me about me and my best friend were hanging out and stuff, and she would always come around and be negative and stuff. So I just stopped.
Be negative how?
Like just saying rude comments like, "Why is you always hanging with girls?" or "You getting all this extra?" And so I stopped hanging with them for a while, and I saw my best friend in the morning one day, and I came to her and I was like, "I don't have a problem with you, I just have a problem with her, that's why I'm avoiding her." And I was like, "I don't think she's cool because she sits there and she talks about me and you behind our backs." And after that conversation, I walked off. I was in the hallway walking, and she came up to me and she was like, "Why is you being messy? Why you going to her, lying to her, talking about I was talking about her?" And I said, I wasn't telling her that you was talking about her specifically. I was just saying, "I don't like you. That's why I haven't been hanging with y'all." And Miss Bergen came and got us and brought us in here.
Okay, so the little conversation you had, not with the one that you was in the hallway with, but this other person is gossiping, right? So even if you don't like somebody or whatever, you ain't hanging with somebody, and somebody asks you about it, you be like, "No, man, I just been, on my own thing. I ain't got no issue with nobody," right?
Yes, sir.
Because when you do say you got a problem with somebody, the first thing a little kid gonna do is run back and tell that person. And it has always been like that, and it probably always will. So if somebody asks you about somebody, whether you like somebody or not, you just look at them and tell them, "I ain't got a problem with that person. I just been doing my own thing." Now, I mean, y'all didn't get in trouble for that, but for the principal for having to bring you into the office, those type of conversations can't happen in the hallway. And what was you supposed to be?
Nowhere. I was waiting for tutoring to start.
Oh, okay. So you was in lunch?
No, sir. It was at the beginning of school.
Oh, so it was before school? Okay. So, have y'all apologized to each other yet? Did y'all do that now? Well, you need to apologize. It ain't got to be confrontational. If you just so happen to see it, you go, "Hey, man, we was arguing the other day. I shouldn't have said nothing about you. I apologize. Shouldn't have said it. I don't want no beef. I don't want it to be nothing between us. That type of deal."
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Video is of a student who has constant friction with one of the aides in our partners in PE class. She feels the aide does not do enough, but in speaking with the aide does exactly what the teacher asked her to do. Nonetheless, the student is very rude and disrespectful toward the aide in the gym. Most of the days they are together, and the aide snaps back at the student, which is also unprofessional. So, in going back and forth, I chose to bring the student in and counsel her on how to deal with the situation to where we the classroom can remain harmonious. And there's no beef because those life skill students are in the classroom and they feed off that energy, and they may repeat what you say or repeat your actions or behave that way, and we do not want that. We want these students in a constant positive environment at all times. Okay, so I see here that you, during Partners in PE, you haven't been getting along with one of the aides. I spoke with her earlier, and I know there's two sides of the story, and we've had some other issues with her as well. So I'm gonna let you tell your side so we can discuss how this can stop happening during the class, whether it's interrupting class or anyone being disrespectful. So just explain to me what the situation is.
Well, she doesn't really do her job in there. She just sits around on her phone talking with the other grown-ups in there, not really helping with any other kids. That's the main problem.
Okay, so how does it get to you catching an attitude or saying stuff toward her?
Well, because
Okay.
she asks us to do it, even though she hasn't done anything in there the whole time. And that just bothers me a lot and gets me like, you can do it yourself, because we're helping other kids and she asks us, so it just gets me bothered a little bit.
Okay. So I was told during the meeting before we spoke with her that you already had some dislike toward her for some other reasons. Can you explain that?
Since freshman year.
So what happened freshman
It's just the attitude right off the bat is just like no reason for it.
So why was it necessary for, like, how did she have an attitude? Like, what setting was it?
First day school when I brought my sister to class. Since I went in there, you know, the attitude was just already there and for no reason, you know. First day is supposed to be like greetings and all that.
Mm.
Hers wasn't a greeting, it was just like a get out, you know.
So your sister was in the class
Mhm.
for how many years?
3.
3. So,
Sophomore, junior, senior.
okay. So do you feel any type of way about your sister being in there, or
No.
was it all just because she had an attitude when you kind of walked in?
Just because she had an attitude.
Okay, so this can't keep happening. Right? Can't the back and forth has to stop. So before I go into what's on the screen, you know, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to tell me how this isn't gonna happen anymore. Like, would you have to have some strategies, or y'all need to speak together or something so this can't keep happening. So what are you gonna do to make this classroom environment better?
Just ignore it all. You know, like if she tells me to do something, you know, first I'm gonna like ask myself like, am I really supposed to do this? And then if not, talk to you, and then from there do like a good situation, not like a bad situation,
Okay.
and not argue.
Because the best thing to do is to go to an administrator
Yeah.
or the teacher, so you don't end up involved in the drama,
Yeah.
right? Because if she isn't doing something she's not supposed to be doing, then and you just say that, then there's no issue. But when you catch an attitude with an adult who's partly in charge in there and she asks you to do something, it looks bad on you. Now, obviously, you don't have a referral, you know, you haven't been in any trouble, but it seems more petty and drama filled when you just don't go straight to an adult. Now, to my knowledge, the teacher likes his aides to stand to the side and watch and make sure the kids are doing everything. So you can speak with him if you haven't already about, you know, why the aides aren't helping, or you know, what their role is and that type of thing. Because I do know I've walked by the classroom and, you know, some aides are helping, some aren't. But, you know, there may be reasons for that, and there may not be reasons for that, but be mature about it and talk to the teacher. Also, it would be definitely good to apologize to her, even if you don't feel like you're in the wrong, because somebody has to be the bigger person.
Yeah.
And if she hasn't already, there's nothing wrong with you going to say, hey, you know, this can't keep going on. I apologize. You know, this is why I feel the way I do, but I still shouldn't be getting an attitude. You know, that wouldn't hurt the environment at all, because most importantly, those kids are impressionable.
Yeah.
So if they see that and feel that injury and see that negativity, then they may reflect that. And you know, just like I know, it's times 10 when we're in partners in PD class with life skills kids and they're doing that. So, but it seems like, you know, I haven't heard any issues, you know, since this particular one a few days ago. So it seems like you're gonna be mature about it and you got it going.
Yeah,
But
I've let it all go.
Yeah, but so that's good. Also, if you do, she asks you to do something or she does say something to the kids or something that really bothers you, you know, I would take a couple deep breaths, move to the other side of the gym, or go tell the teacher, hey, I'm gonna step out for a minute, because you don't want to get kind of caught up in it. Another thing. Oh, and there's another situation with you and a student, another pal or partner in there, where he ended up leaving class. Was it last Friday? Can you tell me about what kind of happened?
Okay, beginning of them playing for free time, he kept hitting us with the balls and everything like that. We kept telling him to stop. He did, but then he always come back and hit us again. So when it was time to clean up, I threw the ball at him, and it wasn't aimed to his face. It was just thrown. And it hit his face. Glasses got knocked off. and then I kind of like turned away, so I didn't see what happened after that. But I just turned back around and saw he like stormed out quickly, and that's it.
Okay, so I have definitely been in there playing dodgeball and some other games, and I've seen him. He's either hit me while I'm talking to an adult before. So for him to respond that way is, to me, is a little weird, just because I've seen him hitting people with balls all the time. Even in gymnastics, when he's throwing the cotton, he does it the whole time. But what I will tell you, if I don't know if you knew this or not, he is autistic.
Yeah.
So the way he responds and the way he's giving it is not, it may or may not be from the same mindset of you. You know what I'm saying? He may truly think everything he's doing is funny, but necessarily if you seem aggressive, it's going to change his outlook on the game or whatever it is. So even if it is you just go, I'm about to hit him back, you got to do it from a tone or a demeanor that isn't threatening to him. Because even in other situations, he'll go to the office, he'll cry, and he'll do some other things that could end up being negative towards you because he is autistic and has certain things that may protect him from getting in trouble for doing certain things or not. And also, if he is throwing the balls or something and you just tired of it, instead of taking it to your own hands, go tell the teacher, hey, can you tell him to stop doing this? That's just to protect yourself. I'm not saying you wrong for hitting them back, because if they're in there throwing dodgeballs, yeah, throw a dodgeball. If he hit me, I'm hitting him back. So I definitely understand, but please take into note that he is autistic and, he may not handle the situation the same as you. Other than that, this meeting isn't all negative. You seem to be the leader in class, so that's what the teacher says, and you are a mini teacher. So what you are doing in there is okay, is real good, and we want to keep you in there. But it's just certain things that have to be discussed and due to it being a school and brought to our attention. But other than that, we're good. So you can go back to class.
Thank you.
No problem. Oh, really? Do you have any questions? I'm sorry.
No.
All right.
No questions.
Competencies 1 and 5 speak about having a campus culture conducive to learning, the learning environment, nurturing students, and providing a place that is a great environment for students to learn. So in this particular activity, classroom management and student discipline is very important. If kids are yelling across the classroom, not in the classroom, not where they're supposed to be, not behaving, not listening, or doing what is necessary for learning, these competencies are disrupted, and they are required of us to ensure that students are learning and engaged within the classroom. Competency 2 requires collaboration from educators and other members of the learning team, whether that's parents, counselors, teachers, students themselves. So in dealing with disciplines, you have to bring all of these pieces together to ensure you're making the best decision for this particular situation. There's no one size fits all. Competency 3 adds to competency 2 with its requirement of integrity and fairness and ethical and legal manner. These things are the structure of discipline coming down from the administrative role. You have to treat all students fairly. Consequences need to be consistent, but also taken in on totality of the situation on an individual manner. Competency 7 speaks of decision-making and problem-solving skills. Not only do you need to have this as an administrator to decide on what to do with the student, but you also have to have this tool to give to the students when they have been in the situation. If you do not have decision-making and problem-solving skills, how are you going to teach them, the students, to better their experience at school and keep them safe and protect them?